guys last left off. Last time we played, you guys had a downtime session where you guys talked through all of the available missions and figured out what you guys were going to be doing. Excuse me. Your team decided they were going to be going on the mission with Imove to Cindergate to try to breach the Storm Granite Vault and see if they could find some information in there about Selwes's artifacts and potentially some of the information for the Dwarven clan that had initially been thought to disappeared, but appears to have been inducted into the Silver Order based on the results of the investigation that you guys sent out in the week prior. Does anybody have any out of character questions for me before we get started at the observatory in character?
I think I missed something. What were you just saying about got inducted into the Silver Order?
So, when you guys got information back about that Dwarven clan that you guys had investigated, the ones that were known for their gunpowder and firearms.
Oh, that one. Okay, okay.
Yep. Yeah, the information you got back is they found dwarves there, but they were covered in silver armor and were carrying around like broadside cannons and flamethrowers. So, probably not a good idea to try to break in.
I think I had misunderstood that one. Alright. Okay.
Leo, please. You're very loud.
I don't think I've got any out or out of character craziness, so.
So, any questions for me on that, or are we good there?
Old Gucci.
Alright. So, we'll pick up with you guys in the observatory planning for your departure. Did anybody not pick up their temporary items yet?
I got mine.
I think I. Shoot, unless I did it last session, I don't know if I did or not. Second.
Because if you still need to pick your consumable, now is the time to do so. Well, your consumables, two of them.
Yeah, I don't think since it didn't come up last session, I don't think I ever bothered to.
Would I be able to do crafting for the prior week?
You are free to do crafting for the part of the week if you give me a crafting roll.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Oh, that's a good one. Let me check how that works. What is your master?
I'm a master, yeah.
That would be 20 gold per day you spend crafting.
Okay. Say Reeves did, I think 4 days.
Alright.
So, where was I noting that?
My son, you were quiet all day. Why are you upset now? Have I offended you? Because you've offended me. Talk, Leo.
I think we could just take a. Cause I still have it in my inventory because I never use the things. They're emergencies. Greater healing potion. I'm guessing that the one
Fair enough.
I think the one that's been in my inventory has probably been in there since for eternity, just to keep renewing it.
All right.
As for trinkets and stuff, I don't figure that out um, in a bit.
Matt, do you recall how much I got back from my Powell bunker?
What do you mean?
Wasn't I refunded part of the cost, or did it all go into the Powell bunker?
I wouldn't remember any value differences, unfortunately.
Okay. Okay. I know I have 80 gold now towards the next attachment. I don't remember if we gave me a bit of a refund on the last one. Because I have 77.
No refund.
I have 77.5 gold previously listed, but I'm not sure if. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that would have been left over or if that was before you hit the next milestone.
Yeah. We'll worry about it later.
Yeah. Everybody got their items picked.
I'm looking for a second. Trying to look for a second one.
Take all the time you need.
Actually, I've still got that iron medallion. I think also from another game, probably. That's still. I just never used it, so just hold on to that.
Fair enough. Alright. Unless anybody has anything else, we can get started with your briefing. My son, I will end your existence. Please. Alright. So, as it gets closer to the scheduled time of your deployment, you guys meet up with Nara and Amove at the top of the observatory and start going over a bit of the information that you have on hand. So, we've been looking into things a bit in preparation for your departure. And we have some good news and some bad news.
Alright.
Let's start with the bad news.
Yeah.
So, on a hunch, we took a look at our readings for the vault itself. We compared it to what we're currently seeing with some basic enough scans of the outside to get a rough idea of the current size of the vault. And I took readings compared to the last time I was able to get anything on that area, which would have been prior to everything going tits up after the war. And at some point over the last millennia, and I can't exactly pinpoint where due to greed mucking up all my readings on any time in between it, the vault has grown.
Come again?
The vault is bigger than it previously was.
Ah.
Which makes absolutely zero sense considering the materials used to make it, as far as we can see.
So, when you say grown, you mean like gone deeper? Or like spread into neighboring districts?
Spread in all three dimensions. Not up towards the top of the city, but rather deeper into the earth and more towards the center of Cindergate.
Um,
That does explain how we were able to reach it so easily when we were attempting to access it from the outside, hence why we even started looking at this first place. But it is odd, if nothing else, and concerning at worst.
oh,
Yeah, top question. Who was growing it?
so I might have a little bit of info on that. Mika's kind of like rubbing the back of her neck a little bit and looking at Move. Uh, so I had a chat with Selwis recently, kind of about the vault. Um, so Greed couldn't have gotten in there, which is the good news. Because they shut themselves up before before it got into the system. But so the Storm Granite clan is possibly still alive and well in there. Well, alive in a manner of speaking.
As in robots?
Yeah. They they were one of they built a lot of the vaults across Cindergate, not just their own. But according to Selwis, they ascended. They were one of the biggest clans left, and so once they ascended, once they took on the new bodies, she had them. They were locked up. They had locked themselves away, and they were waiting her signal. And obviously, she never got that to him because Greed mucked it all up once her and old me got jacked into the system. But so yeah, they've. She asked me to pass on to you guys that yeah, the whole clan is quite possibly been in there for 1,000 years, waiting on a signal, and maybe they finally
Oh,
got bored.
potentially. As to what ends remains to be seen if it is them.
Why would they expand the vault? If they've been locked in there this whole time with access to limited materials and things as such, what would they store?
Depends on what they locked themselves away with. They may have locked themselves away with materials. And they may have finally decided to quit waiting on Selwest to poke her head back in and say all clear. I don't know. I was never super close with any members of that clan, so I couldn't tell you.
Always say what sort of signal she was supposed to give them?
She just said she was supposed to make contact with them uh, when when things were back more like back to not normal, I guess, but it was a failsafe. Basically, they were supposed to, if things went bad, then Sawis was supposed to be able to get back in touch with them and bring Cindergate back somewhat that way. But that went awry when she ascended and Greed got in the system. But that
Okay,
whole it's not connected at all. That vault's never been connected, so Greed shouldn't be ever gotten in there. So that's hopefully good.
but Selwith never told you how she was going to accomplish getting in contact with them, is what you're saying.
No.
Well, that would have made it too easy.
Mika,
Yeah.
in the back of your mind, you hear her voice call out to you a bit, and you just hear, I like where his head's at, but I don't think that's going to be much of an option anymore, seeing as my passkey kind of got melted with my body.
Mika kind of tilts her head for a second.
And Mika, you flash back to the image of the small automaton that was half melted in a pot of acid when you guys were initially in Cindergate.
Oh, right. She'll actually kind of say that out loud. Just like tilt her head and just be like, "Oh, okay." So, passkey. Sois had a passkey, and that is wrecked. So that's yeah. Her way of getting in contact is not there anymore.
Wonderful.
I wonder if the it was half melted in acid. I wonder if there's any bits left at all we can. Eh.
That that would assume us being able to figure out or reverse engineer how it actually worked.
Yeah.
Honestly, B and E is probably going to be it's going to be a bit of a quicker prospect. I was talking with Amove and Lynn earlier, and it's doubly impressive that they were able to grow the vaults, considering that the vault exists across planes.
Yes, I've never really seen any material like it.
She didn't. Sois didn't mention that. Across planes?
Yes,
Yeah, it appears to be some sort of composite material. We couldn't find any exact replica of it when we were looking around, but it behaves as if it's composite lead, stone, steel, and several other things. It seems to project itself across most of the nearby planes, at least any of them that would be able to easily access from the mortal plane. So
Hit.
Lynn's tricks aren't able to slip inside, and we haven't been able to find a way to cut through it, at least not quickly.
We could always just knock and ask.
Yes, that's kind of why we wanted to send you there, because we were able to find an exterior piece of it exposed somewhat to the surface, in the fact that it looks like in the process of its expansion, parts of it pierced through some of the mines weaving through the underbelly of the city. But we haven't been able to find any surface entrances into the vault itself. And from across the side of the room, you see Cornelius make a gesture with his hand. Not for lack of trying either. I've gone through just about every record we have on hand with the archivist and the historian, and if there were any blueprints of it, they have long since been destroyed.
That sounds probably about right. Um,
Have they been trapped in there this whole time, or have they left at all?
Well, I didn't see any sign of them in the times that I've looked around, and neither did I when I was working in the city.
yeah, Sois mentioned she hadn't seen really anything in the past millennia either. So like, I don't think anybody. Doesn't seem like any of them left out at all. They had a plan and they at least initially stuck to it. But well, I don't know. We could try the mines option. Or we could try just walking up to the front door. That's the two ways I can see at the moment.
I, w- without being able to identify ourselves confidently as being associated with Selwys, they have no reason to trust us.
And as I said, we don't exactly know where the front door even is. We have a couple of locations that they were known to frequent, but to my understanding, Imove and Cornelius have been a bit busy tidying things up at the moment to make sure everything else was locked away. They haven't had exactly much time to follow up on looking for doors that may or may not exist.
Who's speaking right now?
Nara.
Nara? Oh, okay.
She's right on that. There's nothing short of things to keep us busy in the city. Unfortunately, that hasn't been a very high priority until as of late.
Well, seems to me there's not a lot to talk about. Um, can we get a list of the locations you mentioned? Well, we'll probably just start with that.
Of course. 1 second. Whoops. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yep.
So these are the 4 primary locations that we were able to identify that they were primarily associated with. Yes. We already took a look at their estate itself and didn't see anything too obvious. That was our first guess that they might have had some backdoor built in there, but if they did, they hit it quite a bit better than I would have expected. So if we want to follow up on any of them, my best guesses would be with either the guild that they managed, or the bank and the nearby merchants guild that often worked hand in hand. It's my understanding that they at least had some storefront within the merchants guild that they worked out of.
Hmm.
How's the security on the bank?
It seems to be locked up a bit tight at the moment. As for whether or not any of the automated security inside of it survived, it's a bit of a mixed bag from what we've run into within the city. Well, everything on the outside got the nice sprucing up that everything else did, considering that the population wasn't exactly returned to Cindergate. A lot of the internal mechanisms weren't touched up as cleanly in the rebuilding. Depending on the make of the machinery, it's possible any defenses in there could either be crumbling into rust or be held up perfectly fine enough to invert our skulls should we try to break in.
I'm just going to assume the latter. This is a bank we're talking about.
And one that was located out of the Storm Granite's home district, so they were known for, if nothing else, having some of the best security within the city.
Yeah, I'm just going to assume everything's still alive until proven otherwise.
Not a bad idea to go in with.
There's a reason they were the ones making all the vaults, so that's good way to go with it. Well,
My vote is for starting with the bank or the locksmith guild.
Locksmith's Guild might have a chance of might be able to replicate or find some info on the passkey that Cellways would have used to open the doors. But yeah,
Uh,
bank seems like a good idea otherwise.
yeah, my thoughts exactly. Maybe hit up the locksmith guild first to see if we can find any information about the passkey. If not, an entrance altogether.
Sounds like a good plan to me, at least.
Yep, and barring that, bank seems fine enough place to hide an entrance.
Wolf, sound like an idea?
Yep, sounds good to me. Any thoughts, Wolf?
Mm, Wolf
Hey,
doesn't really have what?
oh,
Wait,
you were
can you hear
quiet.
me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, you guys didn't hear my contemplation sounds. That's right. No. Wolf's kind of just taking it all in, honestly. Doesn't really have much to add. Alrighty.
Alright.
Wolf. Wolf.
Is
Yes, come
Amore
on.
here with us already, or is she actually at the at Syndergate already? I didn't see if she was here.
She was making some final preparations while you guys went over the information with Nara and Cornelius.
Gotcha.
But before we get too ahead of ourselves, we still haven't gone over the good news.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Alright.
That's usually in short supply these days.
Yes, and hopefully this one will make up for the lack of it otherwise. Considering that my current operations have been placed on hold, pending the activity we are about to depart on, I have taken it upon myself to accompany you all and Amove into Cindergate proper. Hopefully, this time I can actually begin to offer you proper assistance and that we don't run into any unexpected circumstances this time, considering that we are still under the truce.
Huzzah!
Take all the help we can get.
I might not have any idea on how to get into the vault quite yet, but if we run into anything automata related, I am your man.
Well, some luck we'll be able to avoid anything too terribly off, but we'll be glad to have you along.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet some of these defenses are probably going to be a little bit outside my wheelhouse. So having someone with knowledge on these sorts of advanced systems is going to come real handy.
Alright. Alright. Do you all have any more questions before you make your preparations to depart?
Sir, we.
Not at the moment, no.
Alright.
Where are we heading to get into Cindergate? Can't really teleport the whole tower in there.
No, we'll be dropping you outside the gates proper. With greed dealt with, most of the security systems have been disabled or otherwise set back to their normal parameters. So it should be safe for you all to enter the city and traverse it as long as you don't do anything to aggravate the authority sensors still in place.
Don't go around kicking hornet nests. Got it.
Well, that is some good
Yes, that would
news.
be most appreciated.
That's some good news. At least some of the city's back to the way it should be.
So, from here, you guys can grab your supplies. You will be the second team dropped off because the first team is on a bit of a timeline. So they quickly drop off Team A for their, Team B for their mission, and then begin moving the tower outside of Cindergate. So, you guys meet up with Amove and Cornelius at the base of the tower as the final shift takes place. And after a few moments, the doors unlock, and you hear Nara call out from above. Alright, looks like we're good to go. You know how to reach me when you're ready.
Okay, which one of us has the Nara pager?
Reeves does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
With that, you guys are free to enter the city.
Let's go.
Let us go indeed. So you wanted to start with the Locksmiths Guild?
Yes.
So, as you traverse through the streets of Cindergate, it's a lot quieter than when you were last here, with the constant whir of mechanisms from the various automata scattered around the city. Um, it's almost uncomfortably quiet, other than like the occasional hiss of steam in the distance, or the whirring of some of the larger mechanisms when you get close enough to hear them. Um, but as you wander through the abandoned city, eventually you come towards sorry, you come towards a long street of buildings packed tightly together. Most of them seem to be in relatively good states of repair. Mika, the one thing that you've noticed as you've been traveling around is true to what Cornelius mentioned. The city itself, just from a glance, looks very similar to how your memories do. Um, it's only through your experience and knowledge of the situation that you realize things are off. Like you'll occasionally notice the marks of like scratches from when one of like the clawed hands scraped against the building, or the occasional piece of scrap metal that wasn't cleaned up, laying around, that you realize how out of place things can be here.
Yeah, Mika's pretty.
But as you're, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying she's pretty visibly tense as they're wandering through the areas.
As you're wandering through, you do occasionally notice couple of more rudimentary automata. Some of them seem to be patrolling the streets. Other of them are sitting behind stalls, jittering their arms over empty platforms and display cases in front of them, stuck in routines that never ended. Um, and
Creepy.
Cornelia makes a note of, yes, it seems like some of the systems were surprisingly resilient over the years. We've kept the security patrols on just to make sure that nothing nasty wanders in from outside the walls and set up shop, but they're programmed not to attack humanoids unless they commit criminal offenses, and even then they're just to detain them and let me and Amove know of their presence for the time being. We don't want to trigger anything dangerous and unfortunate.
Out of curiosity, 'cause I'm not entirely sure how this thing works, has the construct key been doing anything? Like,
The
pinging off at all?
construct.
Got Cordelia's Greater Construct Key.
Yes, let me take a look at that. I had forgotten about that.
It finally gets to have some use.
Yeah, it does. Cordelia's construct key. Do you have the normal or the greater version?
Greater.
Okay. Yes. Oh no. It is actually. Hold on. Recall knowledge check. Okay.
They may only be if they're pretending to be hidden or normal rather than actively hiding, standing behind a stall. So I'm not sure if it would be doing anything or not.
Let's do something real. So, as you're walking around, the key does ping. Like it grows. It almost like vibrates slightly and feels warm wherever you're holding it currently. Um, And as you look around, you realize that aside from those that are still patrolling, there are a couple of golem statues set up outside of various buildings. A lot of them are disguised as like mascots or statues of founders or things like that. But you do know that interspersed through the artwork around the city, there are secondary, more powerful constructs that typically serve as like reserve forces in case like the initial patrols are overwhelmed by something.
Gotcha. Yeah, she's just wearing it like around her neck, like under the shirt and armor and stuff, so she'll kind of like feel like buzz against her chest basically whenever something is like, okay, like point at like, nope, don't touch that one. Like,
Yep.
kind of starts kind of sidling
You
to
know,
avoid
there's
things.
generally, yeah, generally they stay inert, even when touched. They only really activate if there's like a problem.
Yeah, she doesn't want to take any chance of anything being busted. She's kind of veers away from anything that the key seems to buzz around.
Mm-hmm.
You okay over there, Mika? You're looking a little bit jumpy.
There's just so Cindergate's always had a lot of defenses, but I never really paid a bunch of attention at the time as to how many different things there are actually backup defenses. Like she'll point at one of the golems that looks like, probably looks like a normal statue or something like that, and goes,
Mm-hmm.
so that's
Just looks like a solid stone statue of a dwarf.
yeah, so that's not a statue. That's another automata. And it's back.
Hey. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
It's a backup, but they're there, and this gets us a little odd. Sorry.
What you saying, Nathan?
We're on a different map now, right?
I don't have a map for the streets.
Oh. Sorry, my thing is super laggy.
My internet might be a little spotty right now. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
But we're not moving to a new map yet. I'll let you guys know when we do.
Cool.
I don't think we need to worry too much, as long as we don't set off any of their what is it called, sub processes or something.
Yeah.
For the most part, Cornelius, most of the surface defenses are gonna behave for us, right?
Yes, everything seemed normal when I was looking them over, and my family is pretty heavily involved in setting those systems up, so I know them like the back of my hand. Oh, and he switches from the robot hand to the normal one.
Alright,
But I assure you, as long as we're not going around tripping alarms by kicking in doors and breaking in windows, we should be fine for the most part.
That's fair enough. She'll try not to be too as outwardly jumpy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'll keep an eye out for anything out of place, but for the time being, everything seems to be well within order.
Blood.
As you guys are passing down the streets, Amove points out a couple of the nearby buildings as you walk by. On the left here, we have the Lock District Bank, and right adjacent to it over there, we have the Merchants Guild. We can walk back by them later once we've taken a look at the Locksmiths Guild. Out of all the other buildings intact, I don't know if it would be directly related, but over there, the Legion of Brass was commonly used to have a more human aspect to some of the security measures around the city. It helped some of the guests, at the very least, feel more safe if they saw more standardized guards present around the facilities. So they were one of the mercenary groups that earned a permanent contract with the city, among others.
Being a thief in the city must have been a pain in the ass.
Well, when you work in top of the line tech, you have to make triply sure that you do your best to make sure nobody can get to it. The last thing you need is somebody sneaking out with enough high explosives to level a city.
Fair enough.
I'm not even sure that's some of the most dangerous things in here.
Probably not, but
Considering what we encountered for Mika's greater sin, yeah, high-graded explosives are probably the least of our worries.
That was a bit of an extenuating circumstance, but I see your point. Okay. Okay, over here we have one of the clockmakers, one of the automatas. Here we go. At the end of the street up ahead here is the Locksmiths Guild. So, as you approach the building, you can see that it appears to be fairly straightforward compared to some of the other more ostentatious buildings around it. Most of the exterior facing doors and windows display almost no signs of physical bars or locks from what you can see. And the building itself stands at roughly 2 stories tall, made of traditional dwarven stone architecture. There's a few windows facing out from all sides, and from where you are, you can just faintly see the dust-strewn darkness on the inside, with no signs of movement, as per usual.
All right. Reeves is going to inspect the door.
All right, give me a perception check. So, as you look over the doorway, it's hard to see it at first, but cleverly hidden among some of the natural nooks and crannies of the stone architecture, you faintly see a pin keyhole um, that looks just big enough to fit a key through.
All right. Reeves is going to turn to Cornelius and say, "This is the Locksmith Guild. Um, uh, if I try to jab my skeleton key into this, is it going to cause a problem just because?"
I've taken over a look over some of the sensors in the area. I didn't see anything too out of the works, but if you want to give me some time, I can check to see if there's any alarms set up in the area.
That'd be appreciated. I'll do my. I'll take a look as well, and that's Reeves doing trap finding.
Yep. All right. To Reeves. Perception. You don't immediately find anything, but after about 15 minutes, Cornelius appears back from the other side of the building and says, yes, it looks like they had an off-the-books circuit hidden in the back. I rewired things so that it should constantly send back a signal of all clear. If we want to take a look around for a bit, we should be fine to do so.
All right. Reeves will. I'm assuming the door's locked.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah. Reeves is going to pop open the lock.
All right, give me a thievery check. So, as you flip out skeleton key and work on picking the lock, you notice oddly enough, that as you start setting some of the pins in place, by the time you get to the last one, it doesn't unlock for a second. Uh, and shuffling around Skeleton Key, you realize that the initial pins you set are no longer set. With that roll, though, after a moment, you fiddle around with the lock for a bit and try some different configurations with Skeleton Key, um, and and eventually realize that the interior of the lock is essentially constantly shifting around on the inside. And
Uh,
as you're moving the lock through there, you have to adjust how the pins are turning from all sides. So essentially, instead of just like a normal key with prongs, it's a circular key that has spiraling. What are they called?
T notches, teeth.
Yeah, imagine it almost like a corkscrew-like key.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
disturbing.
Reeves,
Mhm.
after fiddling for like a long moment, longer than people are probably used to him taking, he's just like, "Wow, we got a bunch of wise guys, don't we?"
They were nothing if not innovative. You realize this would be obscenely difficult to pick with a normal lockpick.
Yes, like Reeves as he's like recontorting a skeleton key to another configuration is just like, I I am so glad I have this thing.
So, after a few moments, eventually you find the right combination, and you hear just a soft, uh, and the you give the door handle a quick test, and it appears no longer rigid.
He'll slide skeleton back out and back into his palm and open the door.
Yep. So, the door pops open without any issue, and inside you can see a series of halls heading off in each direction, directly ahead to your right and left, and everything is covered with a pretty heavy layer of dust. And as far as you can see, there is no sign of anything having moved through this anywhere recently.
Mm.
All right. I guess we get to kind of, I don't know, look for. I doubt it's a big old door saying vault here, but trapdoors or something of that sort, maybe. I'm not sure how they would have. How the best way to stick a vault door is.
All right. So, there is not a map for the Locksmith Guild. If you guys want to give me general perception checks for investigation, we can mind palace this.
Okay.
Alrighty.
And if
Reeves
you have
does
anything specific you are looking for or trying to do well searching, let me know, and that'll modify your DC and results.
Reeves does have expeditious search. Um, so I think I think for him, looking for an entrance is secondary right now. He's more interested in seeing if there's anything in place for them to maybe um, uh, do something with like the with with either replacing or remaking the pass key that Celis mentioned once having but no longer does.
All right. You do based off your checks. Okay. So, what I'm going to do for you, Reeves, because you have expeditious search and your legendary perception check, I am going to roll you 4 hidden DM perception checks
Okay.
to let you know if you find anything specific about that stuff in general, and we'll use
All right.
30 for your general search.
Okay.
All right. So, Mika and Wolf, is there anything specific you're looking for?
Mika is Um, not as sure with the passkey thing. So she's gonna go with what she knows is to finding if there's any sort of door. So she's looking like I'm sure in her own home there were plenty of like little secret passages and hallways and stuff built into her own clan's area. So she's gonna be looking for similar markers in architecture in this place. Anything that looks like hey, that looks like a wall just like that had a hidden passage at home kind of thing.
Mhm.
So that is what she's gonna try to do.
All right.
Also, kind of seeing if her key pings anything as like a hint of, hey, maybe there's something here.
All right. And Wolf, are you looking for anything specific yourself, or are you just doing
No,
a generalized search to see what you
no.
find?
Wolf is gonna definitely try to look like he's helping because he doesn't really know what he's doing.
It's like I need
Aw.
to find a big vault door.
Oh,
That should be
baby.
easy.
Uh,
Like when there's like anime slash animated scenes where like you see the character like dashing everywhere and like I don't even know what this is.
Aw. He got a better
God.
perception check than.
All right. Let's start with Mika. You said you were looking for secret doorways.
Yeah, anything that reminds her of secret passages from home.
So, um, having spent a little bit of time outside the building, you got a general idea for the size of the building and its general shape. And with your crafting knowledge and experience with dwarven architecture, you have a rough idea for generally how they built these types of things. So you're looking around the exterior walls, around the floor panels, anything like that for um, secret passageways, either into a private family vault or a hidden cellar or a family mine, anything like that that they typically keep away from the public eye. And as you're going around, um, you don't find anything as flashy as that. But as you're going through the personal rooms, um, at the end of the hallway towards the back of the building, um, you notice that there seems to be a slight bit of disturbance in some of the dust. Not recent, it's at the very least months old from what you can tell with that check. And it leads you to a back passage of the wall that looks like a secret entrance. So you can just barely make out where the stones would part to move aside when somebody accesses the hidden lock mechanism, which you can't even see.
Yeah,
But you can tell this area of the wall moved apart and somebody moved through here recently.
like in recent months, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, this
Uh,
could be promising.
so if you wanted to follow up on anything with that information, think on that for a second. If there's any follow up you want to do on that, while I move through the other two.
Okay.
Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you're exploring around, you give it another good check to see if you find any larger structures. From what you can tell, they had a number of rooms that they used. They remind you almost of like Reeves's workshop in setup. All the tools have been stripped from them, but just the general layout of like desks and posters on the wall to go over diagrams and things like that. They had a display room at some in part of the east wing, where it's a larger open area with a bunch of desks laid out, things like that. Um, and having searched this place from top to bottom, you're fairly confident from what you've seen that there doesn't appear to be at least any overt entrances to a vault here. Everything feels sturdy. You're not seeing any obvious signs of anything like that.
Oh.
All right.
I tried, guys.
Mm.
Tried my best.
And Reeves. So, following up on Wolf's information, you poke around through some of the rooms that look like they were formerly workshops to see if you can find any signs of the designs they were working on. Let's see what we got here. As I said before, all their tools have been stripped, and pretty much all of their designs have been removed as well. Um, with your rolls, though, just as you're giving up, you notice that scattered around the various scraps of paper in the room, there appears to be certain information that is shredded.
Oh. He's gonna see if he can uh, piece back the bits.
Uh, that would probably take, if not 8 hours, several hours of work.
Okay, they probably don't have time for that.
If you want to gather the bits that you think you can find for now, you can try to work on that when doing some other activity if you would like.
Yeah, I think he'll do that for now.
All right. While you're thinking on that, Mika, is there anything else you would like to do with the information I provided you?
She's gonna basically kind of look closer at this area. Like, so
Mhm.
recent activity, she figures it's probably gonna be uh, automata that have gone in and out, or at least try to go in and out. But she's gonna basically kind of keep investigating
They've
the area.
definitely gone in.
Yeah. She's gonna keep investigating and see if she can find the like however like opening mechanisms for it, and also kind of call for the others after a little bit of searching to let her know what she tracked down.
Give me one more perception check.
Where's my page? Better.
No luck, unfortunately.
All right. Well, at least found something interesting, if nothing else, but probably not the entrance where we want, given that there's traffic. So she'll go back to the
Yeah.
others and say as much.
From what you can tell of where you are in the building, you are at ground level. And from some of the nearby windows, it looks like it's very likely that the passageway that you're seeing leads directly outside. It seems like a back door entrance, more or less.
Oh, gotcha. And now you tell me. Alright.
So probably nothing to follow up on. Yeah, Mika.
No. Secret way out, but nothing. Looks like Automata probably used it, so nothing terribly helpful right now.
Mika, you do notice that when Reeves arrives, he comes from the direction that the dust path headed towards. Like the disturbance headed off towards the direction Reeves came from.
Huh. What were you checking out in there?
Mostly mostly the workshops. They didn't really have much. They they took all their tools, they took all their designs. I did find some scraps of parchment that I'm planning on piecing together later, but that's gonna take me at least a few hours to do so. There's a lot to sift through.
Yeah, it looks like it's essentially documentation, so it's a bunch of letters and numbers back to back in very fine print, and you do not recognize the handwriting unless you speak Dwarven.
Well, I can give you a hand with some of that. Well, you think Greaves in there is some Dwarven at this point.
Does Reeves know Dwarven?
I
I
th-
think
we're-
I gave him it, but I might have switched it out.
I say
Yeah, I
you
think
and
you swapped it out because you're listed as common, draconic, goblin, and orcish.
I know him
I
and
think
Mika were exchanging languages for a little bit there, so
Yeah, I think he was picking up some rudimentary Dwarven, and then he needed to understand Draconic to actually do magic research. So he,
Yeah.
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 But let's see here. Yeah, she'll kind of point out the dust trail and it's kind of like, well, we're people for whatever reason, some of them were trafficking in and out through here to there, but probably nothing to follow up on at this point. So
Uh, uh, when when the disturb path is pointed out to him, can Reeves kind of follow it?
Yes.
He's gonna follow it to see where it leads.
So getting a rough idea of where it was, it's a little hard to see now that you've been moving around the room. I would need a follow-up perception check. Okay. It seems to follow a roughly similar pattern to you. It looks like it was moving around that room for a bit. You don't see any signs of it leaving that room other than heading back into the hallway you came from.
So it came into the room and it left the room.
It came into the room, wandered around, and left the room.
Okay. Um, no sharp departures into toward any walls or anything.
It wandered around the various edges of the room. Not like perfectly around. It almost looks like it ping ponged around the room for a bit and then left.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, following its path around the room, does Reeves notice anything?
It covered a fairly wide portion of the room, but the areas that you can definitely make out that it went to, you remember picking up scraps from around that area.
Reeves sort of nods at that and says, whatever the automata was doing, it was going around and probably destroying documents.
Mm-hmm.
huh, that's interesting to note.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's not something that's immediately helpful, I guess. So maybe we move on to the next guild and see what if we can track down any other info. I'm not sure what else we can dig up here that's going to be quickly useful.
From the looks of it, probably nothing that's going to help us with our purposes.
Yeah.
Guess we'll hit up the
The Merchants Guild, I think, Kimova said was kind of on the way.
yeah, let's go there. It's right next to the bank anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move you guys over. Have fun with this map. I apologize in advance. For reference, you're going to be on the very bottom.
Ah! Oh, Lord.
Ooh.
Oh, dear.
Leo, I'm gonna fucking crush your skull.
Kitty.
Oh, dude, whoa.
He's scram.
Yes, he does scrim. Alright, can you guys see it?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
That is not small.
Alright, so as you guys depart from the Locksmiths Guild, you guys decide to head over to the Merchants Guild. As you're on your way, for a bit of warning, the Merchants Guild is a bit more chaotic than some of the other ones that you might be imagining in your head. It was essentially a bartering grounds of sorts, with a couple of the most prominent families in the district owning permanent shops, well, some of the others, either travelers or guests from other districts, would set up uh, bazaars in the center, plying their trade under the watch of guild the guild members themselves to make sure everything was under fair deals. If you have questions about any of the buildings that were set up around the edges, I can probably try to provide as much information as I can.
I'm assuming the main building right up ahead is the actual guild house.
Yes, that's where the Merchants Guild members themselves resided, as well as uh, watched over the activities.
I gotcha.
This guy here.
Uh,
This, yeah.
It's not pinging for some reason.
Oh, the pings no longer work. I need to fix that.
Oh, whoop, good no.
Well, yeah, the guy the guy at the very end over here.
Gotcha.
and which one of these shops is any of these permanent shops around here? Any of them belong to the stone granites?
The Storm Granites did have a shop set up here, yes, if I recall correctly. It should be the one just north of us here.
All right. Well, I say we keep our search contained to that shop and the main building.
Sounds like a plan.
Simple enough. Should we
All right.
split up for now, or do we all want to take a look at the Locksmiths Guild first? Or Locksmiths Building, rather, first?
Um. Let's check let's check the guild first. Um. That way, if we need to get through any locks, I can help.
Fair enough. Right.
Game's paused.
Oh, whoops.
All right. Reeves is just gonna spend a couple just casing the entrance.
Because
Right.
So,
watching out.
yeah, looking for any traps or anything, testing the lock.
The doors to the lower floor do not appear to be locked, and you are not spotting any traps.
Okay. Reeves is just going to open the door and push it open. And enter the building.
Rocks fall, you die.
Ah, nuts. Dang.
Rock
Yeah,
fall,
you're all
everyone
good.
dies.
As you enter in, you can see a staircase following the exterior wall opposite of you, leading up to a second floor balcony above you. Additionally, there are doors to your west and to your east. You briefly saw into them from the windows as you were entering in. To the north appears to be some sort of large meeting room with a stage, and to the south appears to be some sort of office.
Reeves is going to try to get into the office.
Just like the exterior door, you do not detect any locks. Let me do trap finding if you're still doing that.
Yeah.
You're not seeing any traps on it either.
All right. He'll enter the office.
Yep. As you push the door open, the hinges squeak a little bit, and as you twist the handle, you realize that the locks in the door appear to be partially busted. You're not sure if that's either just from years of not being maintained or if something happened over the millennia that damaged the door.
Uh, like the actual door frame and everything, that seems fine.
Yeah, like it almost looked normal, but like the hinges are slightly off and the handle itself appears to be partially busted. Like it only like opens just enough for you to like push the door open with a little force.
I see. Okay. I guess Reeves is gonna look around, see what he can find.
All right, give me a perception check. Excuse me. So, as you look over the room, this appears to be a meeting room of sorts. You can see a table to your west as you to your left as you immediately enter. Rather, that looks like it has old, tarnished platters and glasses that were used for serving. And before you is a large, about waist high desk that people would be seated at to discuss various matters, but you don't see any documents currently scrawled across it, and there's no like underside desk for anything in this room.
Okay. No additional drawers or anything.
No.
Okay.
All right. Wolf, is there anything you would like to do?
So you're both going opposite ways. Where is Mika? You're going upstairs or what? Sorry.
Mika was gonna check out the uh bigger office room. To the opposite wall where Reeves headed, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Can Wolf peek upstairs?
Sure. So that's one. It's the middle panel rather than the middle bottom one. So one level up from you. So
Oh,
are you
that's the
going
upper
partially
floor.
up the stairs to look around?
Yeah.
So let's do like this. Boop.
Okay, I didn't realize that was multiple levels. All right,
Yeah.
that makes more sense.
Yes, it's multiple levels.
It's like this is a fucking huge street, man.
Mm-hmm. So as you start heading up the stairs, you can see a large windowsill overlooking the bartering grounds and the other buildings that you walked past to get here. Um, to the to your left, pressed up against the wall, is a doorway leading south, and to your right, at the uh, pressed up against the balcony, is another door leading north.
Huh? Wolf is going to go to this door.
Are you checking the door?
Yeah.
All right. Give me a perception check. So you fiddle with the handle for a second, and it appears to be unlocked.
Okay. Well, he's gonna step through.
Okay. All right. As you step into the hallway, you can see windows to your right that lead to a balcony uh, overlooking the buildings again. And there is a doorway straight ahead of you and a doorway to your left.
Oh, he's gonna go straight ahead to this door.
All right. Give me another perception check to check the door.
Bye, friends.
All right. Once again, the door appears to be unlocked. And as you open the door, you can see a finely furbished room. Still has a bit of a layer of dust on it from lack of use, but all of the materials seem to be nice. There is a big vanity mirror along the area over here with a desk set up in front of it with various makeups and perfumes. You see a large dresser of clothes just south of it, and immediately as you enter, there appears to be a small, like, end table with various decorations set atop it. Appears to be somebody's living quarters.
Great. Wolf's gonna rummage through all of it.
All right,
Perfect.
give me a perception check, and I'll get back to you with the results on that.
Oh,
Hell
my
yeah.
list. Yeah. Oh no.
All right, so Mika.
Yeah.
While Wolf is pillaging that room, give me a perception check for that door. Yep, as far as you can tell, unlocked.
Okay. Poke it open and
And
head on in.
yep. All right. So as you step through, it appears to be a large room with various booths, or rather benches set up, and a large stage with a podium at the end of it. Looks like some sort of either business room or stage room for like plays or something like that. It could have various purposes. It's hard to tell with nobody in it. You can see another door to your left, which, based off how you entered the building, you can probably tell is the door leading outside, as well as a door to the east at the end of the room and a door to your left at the end of the room.
Alright. You should kind of do the same sort of thing. Look about here for anything that looks out of place. Dust. Go check it. And she'll eventually work her way over to this door up here.
Yep, give me a perception check as you move across the room.
This place doesn't seem like it had been a super big deal at the time, so.
You don't notice anything out of place in this room. As far as you can tell, you're the first person to be in here in a while.
Okay. Yeah, she'll poke her way into that office that's there and look for anything useful, then head back to Move.
Alright, give me a perception check as you poke around that room. Alright, I'll leave you to that and get back to you with the results.
Alright.
Reeves, my boy.
Hello.
Hello. What would you like to do with your time?
I think Reeves is going to. Are these doors on either side?
Yes.
Guess he'll check this door.
Yep.
And
Perception check. Alright. Nothing as far as you can tell.
All right. And I'm assuming this is like some sort of dining room.
Yep, it appears to be a dining room of sorts. It looks like the table was partially set, and the remaining dishes are currently on one of the side tables on the north side of the room. No obvious signs of why the table was never finished being set, but
Interesting. He will. I'll have a look at the fireplace.
alright, give me a perception check. Looking for anything in particular?
Um. Probably anything that might be indicator of like a secret passage or lever or anything. Fireplaces tend to be a pretty good hiding spot for those.
So you give it a complete search over. Um, as far as you can tell, though, unfortunately, you don't find anything inside of it. Rather, you do find what appears to be a alcove on the inside of it, but it is currently empty.
Alcove.
So something that could be safely stored in there out of sight. And you have to get pretty elbow deep in there to reach it. And obviously, you probably wouldn't want to run the fire while there was something in there, but it is a out of sight storage place.
Is there anything particular about the alcove? Like, does the alcove itself appear to be some sort of mechanism or anything, or is it just a little shelf?
You press around for it a bit to see if you can trigger any mechanisms, but you're not feeling anything and like that. It just looks like a shelf where somebody could hide something out of sight if they needed to.
All right. Is it shaped any particular sort of way? Like how big is it?
It's big enough that you could probably fit like a small lockbox in there,
Okay.
but and it's like a dent into the wall rather than just like a shelf leaning over the fireplace itself.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think Reeves is just gonna do a general search around the room and probably just move on.
All right. And give me a perception check then. All right. So back to Wolf. Um, as you're looking around the room, are you just trying to find anything valuable? Or are you trying to find any clues?
Close. He's not looking to like loot, but mostly clues.
And,
Yeah.
okay. So if you're looking just for clues, as you look around, with that, unfortunately, you're not finding anything out of place. You don't find any signs of journals. It looks like if they kept any business possessions here, then you're not finding any. Um, even the chest on the left side of the room appears to be largely decorative. It does have a lock, but it isn't engaged and is mostly used to store various things such as blankets and throw pillows. It
Okay.
seems like they have a taste for things that look nice, but not anything super um, helpful to you at the given moment.
Okay. In that case, Wolf will peek in this other door then.
All right. Poking your head through there, you see another small bedroom set up here. This one seems a lot less flashy than the other one. Set up with a small desk, a table at the south of the room, set up for a couch, a dresser, and two end tables next to a bed. It looks like another person's living quarters. This one without a balcony, without a doorway leading. Oh wait, no, it does have a balcony. I missed that. But yeah, looks like another person's quarters. If you want to look around it, give me another quick perception check. Yep, pretty much the same as before. You see a lot of personal belongings, but not a lot of business information being stored directly in here.
I guess unless there's issues, we'll move to the other door.
Yep. Poking your head in there, it looks like this is the second level to the door that Mika went through. You can see the stage and the benches as you head inside. And there's a door leading out to what you can see is a balcony through some of the side windows. And to the left, you see a door leading into another side room.
We'll make it to the store.
Yep. Same as before, door doesn't prove any issues. So as you head inside, it appears to be an overhang with a meeting room. And as you head in, you can see Mika flipping through some of the books on the lower level, trying to see if she can find anything.
I think I should have checked this bathroom, but I have a. I swear to God, if that's where the clues are, Matt.
Damn, Wolf's on to me. I hid all the important business documentations in a waterproof bag in the toilet.
Yes. Yes.
That's amazing.
All right, we'll head back downstairs.
All right. So Mika,
Yarp.
42. Your final check was a 38. All right. So, looking around the documents in the room, you find a lot of ledgers on who and what passed through the bazaar and the various shops over the course of months and years. It is a lot of dry information. Are you looking for anything in particular?
Um, gonna try and look for anything that's close to the end as possible, basically. See if she can find any info in that format.
So as you're going through the logs, um, you see business seems to be slowing down towards the end. And the last record they have, they specifically mention closing up the bazaar for the last of the population going through the Ascension project. And that is dated specifically. Where is the date I have listed here? The 13th of fall of the Autumn Court, 1994.
Okay. Fall 1994.
That appears to be the last day that the bazaar or any of the shops was up for business.
Alright. And does it look like it's basically them closing stuff up and prep for sending people, what few people were left home kind of thing, or?
Uh, Notes like that are pretty rare in it, but you can see that business was slowing down in the weeks and months leading up to that, and there is a note specifically saying that they're closing up the bazaar for the time being until as the last people are heading off to the Ascension project, and they will reopen once everything is stable again.
Gotcha.
There are no further entries after that.
Alright. We're gonna.
Yeah, it's all pretty dry, like
Yeah.
business text.
Yeah, so just kind of leave that, so. Alright.
All right, and Reeves.
Oh,
Let's see. Poking around the room, you see that the china is pretty nice. Other than that, you don't really see any like documentation or anything like that. This appears mostly to have been a dining room for the guild members.
Is there anything special about the table itself?
You check underneath it. The wood seems like fairly standard fare. Slightly nicer material than you'd usually see, but like you give it a check over. No hollow sections, no areas that you can pull out, no false legs anywhere. It seems to be on the up and up.
He furrows his brow, just sort of looks back across the room. I think he's going to check in here. Anything special about the door?
Nope. Pretty standard door.
I'm assuming this is the kitchen.
Yep, you walk into a kitchen. The smell of mildew and rot hits your nose pretty quickly as you realize that whatever was in the bags did not survive
Aw.
the time that you guys have the time since everything was rebuilt.
Okay. So there was dinner. Does he get the sense that dinner was being prepared, or is that just like from the stores?
It's from the stores.
Okay.
So whatever was in the bags, you can see like potato sprouts trying to pierce through the burlap. Um, there is an unholy like black ichor seeping out from some of the bags as you assume things have just turned into a rotten swamp paste within them. And you get a good idea. You probably want to stand clear of that unless you want to get food poisoning by osmosis.
Aw.
Yeah.
Well, I was hungry until 5 seconds ago.
Hi. It's been like a year. It's been
A
a
millennia?
year and a half since the world was reset. Okay.
Yeah. At least it's glad it's not sentient.
Grape
Yeah.
sort of nods at that and just sort of looks around. Is there any indication that there's any disturbance in the room aside from myself?
With that perception check, no.
Okay. I think he'll spend just a couple of minutes looking around, steering away from the rancid bags as best as he can.
Mm-hmm.
But Reeves is coming to the conclusion that the the main guild hall might not have anything for them.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll spend he'll spend some time looking around.
Yep. Unfortunately, that seems to be the case that you guys get as you spend more time there.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Once he's done with the kitchen, he'll just head out and try and find Wolf and Mika.
Dead. So I think they've been dead for 5 years. You don't remember?
What?
Wolf and Mika, we died 5 years ago. You
Oh.
don't remember?
Dun dun. Granted, I didn't. Granted, I found more living quarters than anything else, but I'm getting the feeling that we're probably not going to find anything in the main guild hall itself.
Yep, coming up on the same here. Some paperwork about pre-ascension, getting all prepped for putting stuff away and wait until it's all clear.
Did I mention any details about their getting prepared?
Not really, just closing down the bazaar until things stabilize is pretty much the gist of it.
Okay. Well, if I were to hide any entrance to a vault, I would want to hide it in a place that I have the most control over. If this it, if they had other staff from like other families and stuff running around here helping them manage the whole operation, I wouldn't want them to accidentally stumble across anything.
That's a fair point.
So, um, assuming Wolf hasn't found anything upstairs, we might just want to check their shop.
Yeah. Could take a look at the shop
Nothing
and
at
then.
all.
Hey Wolf, everything okay over there? Up there?
He's back downstairs now.
Oh.
Oh, he should be. Oh
Okay.
god.
Just walking down the stairs as you ask that.
I found very nice rugs, Reeves. That's about it.
All
Well,
right.
well, if we were looting, I would maybe want to appraise those rugs. We could probably get a decent price on those, but um,
Maybe not so much at the moment.
no, probably not.
Maybe another time.
We'll go with that. All right. All right. Yeah. I guess we can check out. What was it? The Storm Granite's business over here. Was that what Kiri said? Or is that?
Yep, it's this one over here, back by the
Okay.
entrance.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to mark.
Find anything of note?
Not particularly.
Just closing up shops, documents, nothing. And nice rugs, apparently.
Yes. I've been checking over the local security system. Doesn't look like it's been tripped since we turned it back on. After you guys dealt with greed at the very least. Hard to say
So,
anything before that.
so no one's been in this ward since then.
No, from what I've seen, everything's been on the up and up for at least the past few months. Like I said, though, with everything as it was, all the automated defensive structures were overtaken by greed before that, so any time that they were still active, I can't accurately account for. They
Yeah,
filled everything with garbage data.
yeah, fair enough. Um, yeah, I figured if the storm granites, uh, is it storm granites or stone granites?
Storm Granite.
Storm granites.
Storm granites. Um, if the storm granites hit anything, it would probably be in their shop. Um, like I was telling Mika, uh, if I was gonna hide anything, I would want it in a location that was under my control specifically.
Not a bad idea. I'm not seeing anything else that we can really work on out here. It almost seems a little off, but I haven't been able to find anything.
Um, when they were getting ready for the end, were where were they reporting to?
It depends on where their home sorry. It depends on where their clan or family was based out of. Each of the regions had one or two locations where we were able to perform the ascension out of. So people would usually head over there, be transferred over to their new bodies, and then report back there every so often for recharging.
So it's like a gradual process. Everyone, this was completely like systematically planned, right? This wasn't like a in case of emergency. This was the plan.
I. What was the
Yes,
plan?
this was the plan. Unfortunately, towards the end, things got a little out of hand. But the transition was gradual over several months.
I see. All right. Well, uh, we're we're gonna check out their personal shop here, and if we don't find anything, we're probably gonna have to go look at the bank.
All right, I'm gonna keep my eyes open out here. I feel like I'm overlooking something. I'll let you know if I spot anything. Feel free to shout if you need me.
Um, walking over here. Is there anything interesting about the fountain here?
Give me a perception check.
Yeah.
The water isn't currently going on it, but otherwise it seems like a fairly standard, opulent fountain.
Can I take a look around to see if I see any more dust trails?
Sure.
Or, like, I don't know, evidence of automata passing,
And
I suppose.
mhm. So Mika,
Oh no.
trying to look around for evidence. This is an open bazaar, so any
Yeah.
like weather, like wind, rain, would have washed away dust and stuff like that. So that's not terribly surprising. As you're looking around the central area, you notice it's almost too clean of automata parts compared to everything else you've seen in the city. It looks like there is a more active attempt to clean up here. And as you poke around for a bit more, you start to notice small things that you had been overlooking before. Nicks and gashes in the stonework, um, dark stains scattered across some of the stones, gashes in the walls of the building. It almost looked like some kind of fighting took place here.
Huh. Can I... Hey, Cornelius, Imobe, you
Oh.
guys... You two are involved with putting Lock and Greed away. Do you remember, like... I'm like, was it just you two, or were there anybody else still helping you out here?
By the time it was just. By the time that Greed took over, it was just me and Cornelius.
Something's... There was fighting here. I'm not... kind of... She's gonna basically kind of track around and see if she can find where, like, the scent, like, basically the heaviest, like, marked up area.
With that roll, you can see that the heaviest damage took place around the Storm Granite shop.
Alright. So there was definitely a fight around the shop over here. And I don't know if
Reeb,
it was something trying to get in or something trying to keep something out.
Reeb's checking the door.
Yep. Do you want me to check it or do you want to?
You check it.
You check it over. So as you're looking over it, you think you see a trap for a second, but you realize it's already been triggered. It looks like somebody set up some sort of alarm around the door a while back, um, but it was already tripped.
So it's not live anymore.
It is not live, correct?
Okay. Reebs is gonna try the door.
Yep. The door is currently locked.
All right. He's gonna do the thing.
All right. Familiar with their standard locks after having dealt with it at their estate, you deal with the stupid twist lock again and manage to pop your way inside. It's a little weird getting the door off its hinge because aside from the lock bolt, it looks like the standard handle is a bit loose from damage at the moment, but you're able to pop it open and get inside.
All right. Reeb steps in.
And as you step inside, you see Amove looking over some of the damage that Mika pointed out and looking over and trying to make sense of everything. But she doesn't have anything to say quite yet.
Yep. How are things inside the shop? Does it look ransacked or anything, or?
Based on what Mika has shown you, it looks almost oddly pristine.
Reeves looks towards the door, looks around.
Like, you notice that there's a couple gashes in the floor, but those, like, if you weren't looking for them, you could have assumed they're just from, like, heavy wear or moving furniture around without protection, things like that.
Right.
Like, nothing that couldn't be explained by just heavy wear. But, like, nothing that's obvious, like battle damage, like a sword gash in the wall or, like, a corpse.
Right. Um, can you try to get a sense of where the damage is most centered around inside the building?
Um, give me a perception check.
Oh, hero point that. Never mind.
Uh-huh.
So, with it in its current state, it's hard to tell for certain. You can definitely see it scattered about this room. Um, it looks to be a bit heavier towards the doors, but hard to say for certain with how, like, covered things are.
Okay. And I'm assuming the shop itself is empty of wares.
For the most part, yeah. Like, all of the tools and stuff have long since been removed, it looks like.
Mm,
If you want to specifically hard search it around to see if you can find anything left behind, let me know. Give me a perception check.
I think he's gonna do that.
Alright.
That's better.
Alright. Mika, are you doing anything as Reeves looks around?
She's gonna basically do the same thing, kind of keep tracking battle and see if she can find anything.
Alright,
Destination inside this building.
give me a perception check. And Wolf, would you like to do anything as they're searching around in the building?
Oops, wrong button.
Mm. The upstairs of this building would be at the top of the other map, right? Yeah, because it just other map just transfers.
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
So the second floor would be this building over here.
Wolf will help them in this building. We'll move more upstairs, though. God. Oh!
Yep. So as you're searching around more, Reeves, you definitely see that there was a lot of fighting in this area, but it seems to be more heavily isolated towards the eastern half of the room. And there's actually, on second glance, it is surprisingly little towards the southwest.
Okay.
Wolf, give me a perception check. All right. So, the doors are a bit hard to get through here, Wolf, but you can easily pop that one open and head upstairs if you would like.
Wee!
Yep. So, all right. What would you like to do, Wolf?
Move this door.
Yep.
Attempt to open it.
It's a bit hard to push through, but you can eventually push it open. Inside, you see a small open room, almost similar to the display room you saw earlier, except a bit smaller. And on the far side, you can see a cracked open door that appears to lead to a workshop.
Okay. Um. Wolf will peek around this room, see if there's anything, and then he'll check the workshop.
All right, give me a perception check for that general search of those two rooms. All right. Reeves and Miko, what would you guys like to do with Wolf's poking around there?
Reeves will point out that the fighting seems most intense on the eastern side of the door towards the entrance.
Alright. So, right to the right of where Reeves' token is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, it seems like a trying to keep him out kind of deal.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'm gonna try and pop my way into this room here.
Yep. So from what you can tell, that appears to be a storage room of sorts. Um, it appears to be largely empty at the moment.
Alright. Let's snoop around.
You do not see any signs of fighting.
Okay. Well, nothing in there. Looks like Wolf tracked down something useful though up there.
I haven't heard. I mean, Wolf went upstairs,
Okay.
but there's surprisingly little fighting the further you get away from the door. So it does seems like whoever was being fended off didn't. Well, if they got in, they didn't go very far.
Huh. Trying to figure out who would have even been fighting.
Well, this is the Storm Granite shop.
Right.
So maybe they were stopping someone from getting in.
Mm, She's gonna kind of look around the. I guess kind of look around the floor around a bit more. Actually, not touch that. She's gonna go outside. Kind of look around the outside walls of the building. Kind of circle around it and see if she can spot anything useful.
Mm-hmm. So you just looking at the outer walls, or you're poking it to see if there's any like secret doors or anything like that?
Mostly studying. I'm looking for, yeah, any more signs of battle, any other old cold tracks or anything useful.
All right, one more round of perception checks then from you, Mika.
Just kind of circle the building and see if she finds anything.
So, you notice that on the lower floor there don't appear to be any extra windows than the one at the front of the building, which appears that it might have been braced from the inside. And as you go and check the southern door into the building, you test the handle real quick and realize it's not locked, but you can't open it.
Wait, which door? The bottom left or the bottom left or
Yeah,
that
the
one?
bottom left door. It appears to be jammed from the outside, as far as you can't open it to get inside from where you are.
Huh.
Does Reeves hear the door being jostled?
If Mika's giving it like more than a single test, yeah.
Yeah, she kind of jiggle it to see if she can figure out if it's is this thing broken or actually just blocked?
Yeah. To be fair, the doors have been pretty janky, so
Mm-hmm.
she might have been given it a good effort.
Reeves will, after hearing the door being tested, inspects it from his side.
Yep. So from what you can see, Reeves, it looks like essentially the hinges on the door have been like blast welded shut.
Okay, so they just sealed this off.
Yeah, they just melted the hinges on the door solid so that it couldn't turn.
Mika, if you're going, unless you're trying to really force this open, you're not gonna get in. They welded it.
Huh. Alright. Kinda hear Reeves yell and wander way back in. Alright. Weld one door shut, guard the other.
Yeah, this seems like a really odd place to put a door. You know,
It kinda does. Hmm.
like they have their own separate estate. Yeah,
Yeah, they do.
I
Cornelius, I think, and the movie said they checked it a little bit.
yeah. If this was like an entrance into like a loading bay or something, I might understand. But this just leads upstairs.
Does
Just seems like a odd spot to put a door in the first place.
Mika's gonna start poking at the sides of the stairs, like the, under the stairs cabinet kind of area.
Uh, so it's one of those stairways that's like hollow underneath it.
Oh,
Yeah,
but
it's
okay,
not like a solid like staircase that has like a Harry Potter room underneath.
gotcha. I'm still gonna look under it and see if there's anything else going on there.
Not as far as you can tell.
All right, well, to the ups. Mika's gonna poke her head out and call over to Cornelius and Omove what they're still investigating oddnesses.
Right. Right. The Move's poking around for any signs of battle damage, and I'm trying to make sure that we're not setting off any alarms to upset the constables. I will keep you informed if anything changes out here.
All right, yeah, it looks like they welded one door shut and fought like hell at the other door. So there's, I don't know, might have been a last stand, but it's like a hell of a place for a last stand.
All right.
That up she goes.
So, uh, as you guys head upstairs, Wolf, you finished looking in the initial area and you don't find anything. Um, but as you're poking around in the workshop, um, you don't see anything initially, but then you recall seeing Reeves do this thing where he'd check underneath for any like false bottoms or false doors. Um, so you just give the underside of the table a powerful knock to see if it feels hollow at all. And you just knock this false shelf off of its hinge, and it just drops to the ground with a thud, and you hear the clanging of something else hitting the ground. And as you look over towards it, Wolf, you see a decapitated automata head rolling around on the floor to a stop. And propped up next to it, as it awkwardly rests between the desk and the floor, you can see carved into the bottom of the desk panel is "The world will forget, but they won't." Let's take a
Hmm.
quick break there.
The world will forget, but they won't.
Hmm.
Interesting. Dun dun.
Dun dun. Oh. Oh. Nice little change of pace of your normal run through the dungeon screaming. Oh.
No ghost bad touch this time, so.
Yeah. Gotta try throwing new things at you every once in a while. Let's take 5 quick minutes to stretch our legs, and then we can do a little bit more before we wrap up for the day.
Oh.
All right. Mhm.
Wow.
Ice cream have to be so high in calories.
I know, right? It's bullshit.
Like I was like, oh, I only had like 12 to 1300 calories so far today after dinner. I could probably fit in like a blizzard or something. And then I look up how much a large blizzard has in it. I'm like, excuse me?
Like 2,000 calories, I assume.
Yeah.
It was like it was only like 1100, but that's a lot.
I've been trying these like different like ice cream bars. They're like made out of like Greek yogurt and stuff. Like
Oh,
I forget what the crap they're called, but they're over like there's a section of ice cream with like the halo and all the like some of the
yeah.
non-dairy and lower calorie. Like there's a lot of them that are actually like a Greek yogurt based bar or ice cream kind of thing. It's like not pretty close to the right texture, honestly.
How's it calorie wise?
I don't remember them being too terribly bad. I can't remember what the hell that brand was. So I've also been like not quite as like I watch the calories, but more the content. I guess if that makes any sense.
Oh no, yeah. That makes total sense. Yeah. I mean, I calorie count just as like a base,
Yeah,
and and then obviously having like an even amount of calories a day, but it's all like fried chicken isn't gonna do you much good. But
yeah. I tend to cut out like if I can, other than the like cheat days, like I'll eat kind of whatever, but for the most part, other like pure sugar and fat, I tend to kind of okay. Yasso, that's the name of the brand.
yassa. Okay,
Yasso. They're Greek yogurt bars. As for the calorie count on the silliest things, they're 100 calories a bar,
that is not bad at all.
and
That's pretty good.
that's for like a chocolate chip cookie dough one too. They're actually pretty dang tasty.
I might look into those because I don't know. Sunday is my cheat day where
Yeah.
I'll just eat whatever.
Hmm.
Um, it's also because with the HelloFresh thing I'm doing,
Oh yeah,
I get 3 meals. I get 3 recipes a week, and one recipe makes enough for 2 servings.
gotcha.
So I end up with like a just a day where I don't have any sort of food prep stuff to work with. So I'm just like, Sunday's cheat day. Let's go.
Yeah, Fridays because of gaming and stuff is usually my cheat day. But like I guess I'm not really watching calories and stuff as much as I am like making sure it's high protein and lower sugar.
Yeah. Yeah. My biggest hang up is portion control. So um counting calories is sort of my way of making sure I'm not over stuffing my face.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I've picked up a few different recipes that are in general, like, because I've got like one of my coworkers' workout buddies is, uh, so like we're both working out a chunk to try and get muscles and stuff back and towed up. He's going like for basically for a month. It's basically like chicken, veggies, and rice. And low sodium is the big thing that
Oh yeah.
he's like so for the most part is like low sodium and low sugar, but you can still, but within that those limits, you can kind of do what kind of almost whatever, because he eats a shitload of calories for what he does.
Oh
But
yeah.
as long as it's the right like, kind of calories, I found that to actually work better for me at least. And portion control, like stuff like tuna salad, I can eat a gigantic pile of that, and it's pretty low calorie regardless of the portion. So kind of trying to find like stuff that's yeah like not so high on the calorie, but I can still eat a large amount of it.
Mhm.
Not too many things I can do that with, but chicken and rice in various formats and tuna salad seems to be two pretty solid standbys.
Oh yeah. The veggies to fill you up and the chicken's lean anyway.
Uh huh.
So
There's pretty much no limit on those guys, and you can do all sorts of fun stuff to them without too much salt. So
mhm. Yeah, the HelloFresh recipes have been working out pretty well. I will say that they can get a little sodium dangerous, but as long as as long as I'm not intaking much more than just what's in it throughout
Yeah,
the day, then it just kind of balances out. It's
yeah.
all good.
I've got frozen lunches, like microwavable various lunches at work, so those are like pretty much always. Even the healthy ones are high sodium just because of the preservation and frozenness of them. So
Yeah.
like pretty like as long as I do a decent workout for the day, it's works out pretty well. But
Yeah.
still figuring some of that stuff out. The HelloFresh things, the things you guys post look pretty cool. I just like to pick those up for the entire household, and would be prohibitive, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a little expensive, but for me, that just becomes my cost for
Yeah,
groceries for dinner for the week,
yeah.
which even then it is a little pricey, but I kind of don't have to think about it, and I hate shopping for anything regardless, so I'm just like, handle it for me. I just want to cook. Leave me alone.
Yep, that's fair. That is totally fair.
So I am more than happy to pay the premium on top just for the service. So, and I haven't had any problems with the service so far. The only thing that happened was like last week where I tried something that was a far out my comfort zone. It was like, what was it? It was I did not enjoy this recipe. Um, it was a Szechuan turkey and green bean stir fry with toasted cashews and quinoa.
Huh?
Yeah,
That
not a big fan
sounds.
of the quinoa.
No, no, I'm totally on board with you. I tried the quinoa and it was just a texture nightmare for me because it was like the quinoa. It's my first time making quinoa, so I probably fucked it up anyway. But just like the sort of softness between like the quinoa and the semi softness of like the green beans and then the turkey, it clashed, and I knew this was going to happen, so I don't know why I even tried. It clashed with the toasted cashews for me, because you get all this soft and then you get this hard crunch, and I'm just like, I am done.
Yeah, quinoa's a weird one. There's I don't know. I've got found a couple of like I've been doing a ton of microwavable like the steamable bags of veggies and things, and they have like a couple protein mixes that have veggies and quinoa and stuff in them, and those aren't too bad. Like
Mm,
the texture comes out pretty decent, but
yeah,
trying to cook it from scratch, yeah, not so much. Not I can't get the texture quite right with that.
yeah. Steamable with quinoa, I'm willing to try that because I actually do love steamables because I don't know, it's just steamed vegetables.
They're super easy, yeah. Just nuke them and dump them into something else, and you're
Exactly. So I might try that, but yeah, making quinoa, it did not go well for me.
good. Yeah.
We all back.
Okay.
Yep.
I never left.
All right. Take it easy. All right.
Now I'm sitting here browsing through the Magnus Archive channel in the Salt Den because I'm just now starting
Oh,
to listen to it because I finally caught up on all the other stuff I was wanting to watch for the moment. So, and they're
oh,
short.
nice.
They're interesting.
Uh, I quite, I quite like it. I'm still working my way through. Excuse me. I'm still working my way through the last season.
I'm at episode like 20 something. I'm not super far in.
It's a good ride. Um, I won't say too much regarding it, but I'd be interested to talk with you once you get through most of it because
It goes. It's
yeah.
super. Like there's like I'm on what like episode like what 20 something. There's like I don't even know how many there are. It looks like there's a bunch of little side like on the podcast list on Spotify, there's the episodes, but it looks like there's a bunch of episodes, but then there's these acts and other the Twilight Abyss, all these things. I don't know how the fuck they fit into this stuff. So
Oh, I see.
it's like, where do I even go? Although I don't think I have to worry about it for a while.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any like supplemental things, but I think Magnus Archives by itself, if you just go through the just down the episode list, that's pretty much really all you need.
Gotcha. They're getting to the point where they're actually like, running across some of the same names, and they're having to the characters, some of the other archivists and stuff are coming in there and dealing with like being attacked and like so like
Hell yeah.
that was episode 28, not super far in, but enough to where like, oh hey, there is an actual coherent storyline that's kind of being introduced here. So
All right. Everybody good to go?
Yes.
All right. There's a little bit more to go before I think we're at a good point to stop for the night. So, Wolf, you just found a head and a message carved into the table. Reeves, I did mistake where I had put something. With your initial search of the room, aside from finding that the scratch is more heavily on the eastern side of the room,
Right.
hidden behind one of there was a back panel on one of the dressers down there.
Oh, okay.
Um, and hidden amongst a couple of logs in there, you find a log of the requisitions that the locksmith here had received. And as you're flipping through the pages, it looks like a page detailing the fall of Autumn Court 1193 to Reign of the Spring Court 1994 is missing. It looks like a single
Oh.
page.
Mika,
hey,
you check. As they're going up the stairs. Mika, you check the archive over there, right?
over in the Merchant Guild, yeah. Um,
Um, what was the last entry that
last
you found?
last entry was when they were locking up to go finish up the accession thing. Um, 13th fall of autumn, 1994. You said
1194.
Matt said 1994. Did you mean 1194?
1194.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
okay, 1194. That makes more sense. Okay,
Well, that's
yeah.
weird.
Why?
Some of the logs I was looking at downstairs, there's a page missing in the requisitions. Looks like it should have been between autumn 1193 and spring 1194.
Interesting.
So
That's
the missing period is before
yeah,
the date Mika listed, just so we're all aware of how my calendar works.
yeah. I assume
Yes.
I assume the seasons, despite the court thing, is still in the conventional order.
Yeah, winter, spring, summer, fall every year.
Okay, so ripped out requisitions from 1193 to 1194 spring, and then the bazaar closes down fall 1194. So they were working on something before everything got shut down, and they were one of the first clans to ascend too. Very
Well,
interesting.
whatever it is, they seem keen on hiding it.
Indeed. And they were fighting too for something. Alright. Well, something's odd here. Let's see if Wolf had any luck.
Just, hey Wolf, find anything?
Oh, this is where you guys hear a fucking bang from upstairs.
Wolf, why are
Oh,
you breaking shit?
You guys are going to walk in and see Wolf examining what he found.
So, what was it? There was a shelf that
what you
fell
got?
off.
So he was checking for a false bottom, and being wolf strong, he just slapped it off the fucking hinges it was on.
A false bottom to a shelf?
A desk in
Oh.
the workshop.
Okay, that makes more sense. I heard shelf and was like, how the fuck?
Reeves found something in the false back to a shelf.
Okay, I misheard those things.
Yep.
Thank you.
Got there, buddy. Oh.
You guys just see an automata head like on the ground and the carving into the wood, which was the world will forget, but they won't.
But no automata body?
Correct.
Oh, that's not fucking ominous.
You guys have anything to add to this? I don't. What is this?
The world will forget, but they
Appears to be a head.
Wolf is gonna throw the head at Reeps.
So the head was on the okay in the desk or on the. Where'd you find this?
Catches it.
Can you
Um,
not throw the head of potentially the clan member? Although
Is there like a jaw mechanism that's exposed?
No.
Okay, never mind.
was Reeves gonna muppet it?
Yes, 100%.
not cursed
looks
at all.
It looked like any loose pieces like that have been removed.
Oh, okay, so it's like more of like the top part of like an automata skull.
Yeah, it's like the top part of the jaw and up. So think a
Okay.
human skull without the bottom jaw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a warning. All
Just-
right.
So,
Forget, but they won't. Who's
I didn't intentionally break that, by the way.
that? I no, I. Someone took some time.
well, what's connection between this and the ominous carving there?
Well, that I don't know the way I read it. Yeah. Given the fighting out there, does the carving look like it's neat or like scrawled fucking do not enter the castle of carved on the cave wall kind of thing?
It's not like I'm gonna fucking kill you carved into it. It's relatively neat and tidy. It doesn't look like it looked like it was carved quickly, but not like digging into it full force, like trying to tear out chunks of the wood in
Okay.
anger.
So not necessarily like a carving my last words in before I die kind of thing.
Yeah, more of I need to get this message in here fucking quick.
Wolf is gonna have a potential brain blast, and he's gonna touch the carving.
You feel wood grain.
Fuck.
So
I appreciate the effort.
the carving's under the desk and the head was on top of the desk.
It was resting on that false bottom, so it was essentially hidden in the desk.
Oh, okay, and then the carving's inside the false bottom too.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So what was the message again?
The world will forget, but they won't. So,
Who is they?
well, given they went to the trouble of sticking an automata head in here, I would assume it's referring to the automata.
Seems like the Stonegrants didn't particularly care for this ascension idea, if I had to guess.
Well, I don't know. They were, from what Selways told me, they were one of the more. Most of their troops, the clans that went out to the war, they were saw some only light fighting, so they were one of the biggest clans left. That's why she chose them for her the big vault, basically. That's they ascended first and sealed themselves off.
Bruce sort of holds up the jawless automata head and is just like, well, we found this in a hidden compartment in one of their desks. This does not inspire high opinion.
It doesn't, but they all went into that vault automata themselves, so I don't know. I don't know.
Hmm.
But I think we should bring this out to Amova and Cornelius. Maybe they've got some more insight on it, because I don't. It looks like a warning, but like I said, they went in too.
Well, I have a question of where the rest of this body is.
That is also a good question.
He hands Mika the head and is going to walk over here.
Twitches
Are you
and
checking
stucks
that
it.
door?
Yes.
Similar to the one downstairs, that one has been welded shut at the hinges.
Interesting.
That goes across. Oh, connects to the other side. Might be able to get in from the downstairs on the other side of the road.
You think so?
I mean, it's welded here. Might as well give it a shot. Pictures like it's one of those buildings that has the building on either side of the road, and the second floor connects the two.
I mean, that's assuming there's a door on the other side.
Well, I mean, the other side looks like it's kind of looks like it's stables, but we can definitely check.
Worth a shot.
Yep. If anybody goes check, this map doesn't have it, but there would be a door on the other side.
Okay. So, Ribs makes his way here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's a door instead of a dresser there.
Okay. And it's welded shut. Or is this door? Can we access this door?
That door is fine.
Oh.
Interesting.
What? So what building did we enter to get through here?
To get to there,
Yeah.
The one by Amove is how we got up.
it's the southern one right here.
Oh, to get to where? Okay, to where Reeves is currently. Yeah, that would have been the southern one here. Yeah.
Yep.
And then that would
And
have upstaired us to here.
is this so? What is this building? Is this like some sort of loading bay? Or
From what you can see here, this appears to be a shipping consortium, based off
Okay.
the name over the offices and everything.
well, Reeves is going to enter.
Yep.
Check for traps first, because whatever this section of the building is, they obviously didn't want people coming in here.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
So follow right behind. Can I take a look out the windows and see if she sees anything?
With that perception check, as you're looking around, you see a lot more signs of damage similar to the eastern part of the lower floor down there. So it looks like things were trying to get through this doorway here.
Okay. So whatever was trying to get in, they welded all the other possible entrances shut.
Yep. So there is only, based on how many times you've left and entered that building, you know there's only a single point of entry that isn't welded shut.
Right.
That you're aware.
So the automata were really trying to get into this place, weren't they?
Yeah. And whoever was locking it off was buying somebody time to leave that message in this skull. So.
Well, there's no real way to.
No way
So
to
when did
be.
the ascension take place or start to take place? It was towards the tail end of 1194. Is that right?
I think it had been actually going on for longer than that. I don't actually know the years specifically. And Mobe and Cornelius would probably know more details because I don't.
Well, Cornelia said that it was a transition that took place over a couple of months.
Yeah, it took us years to figure out the project, but I don't know the actual time frame of who ascended when. I just know that old me and Selwys were some of the last ones to go in, and that's when Greed got in.
When you ascended, was everyone just kind of placed in standby mode, or were you allowed to walk about?
Mika, from your memories, you know that at least during the initial phases when they were still getting people into the system and before original Mika got into the system, that people were walking around in their automata forms.
Yeah, it was just they were basically ascended, kind of kept an eye on for a little bit to make sure nothing went haywire, and it was successful, and then people went back to living their lives.
Okay. So, assuming this poor fellow was dismembered and stuffed into the desk after things has already gotten started. I don't know. I think there's a timeline of events that we're missing.
Seems kind of that way. I'm gonna. Mika's actually gonna go up the stairs to the next level, the tower-looking thing.
Reeves was already heading up there, so
Oops, what did I do? There we go.
Yep. It looks like this is a clock tower.
Lots of kind of. Is it one of those clock towers you can actually like see out the clock out to the bazaar?
Yes, a little bit.
Kind of take a look and see if she can basically see any sort of bird's eye view of any other oddnesses that stand out.
Roll me a perception check. Nothing that you haven't already noticed, no.
Gotcha. Okay.
can Reeves inspect the clock mechanism?
Sure, what are you looking for?
Um, just to see if there's anything that's kind of out of the ordinary for this sort of system, or or the mechanics or anything.
Sure. Roll for it.
39.
Nope. It seems like a bit more complex and scaled up than you're used to seeing, but yeah, looks fairly standard.
Got a question from Mika's memory of the automata, like the ones that we saw fought against, or and memories that she had picked up from original Mika. Did all the automata pretty much look like, in terms of like structure, the same, or were they varied in like facial features and whatnot?
Um, the initial prototypes were all similar. As they started refining the process a bit towards the end of the first generation, they started to get more customized faceplates to give like general appearances towards what the original user looked like.
Um,
They didn't perfect that process by the end of phase one, though.
and the skull I'm currently toting around, does that look like one early model or a late model?
Uh, that one looks like an early model.
Okay. She's kind of carted down to Mobe and Cornelius. Just be like,
It does look like a human, though. It does not look like a dwarf.
interesting. Yeah, she's gonna cart it down to the two and wait for the other two to catch up when they're done.
Oh, how'd they? Oh, that's.
So there's some interesting stuff in that building, but
I can see that.
let the other two catch up before we rehash it all out again. he'll kind of catch the two up on the message found and the skull that was in there, and while waiting on the others.
Curious. Well, get.
Welded doors and a hidden message, and I don't know if it's I don't know. Reeves found some other interesting bits too.
One moment. And you see him produce a key from his pocket jacket for a moment, and he walks up to the nearest door, puts the key in, turns it, and walks into his office.
I love that ability.
Oh, great. I love it.
So after a few moments, he is followed out by one of his attendant automata that he has built, carrying a small crate of supplies, and says, "Would you mind letting me take a look at that for a moment? I think I have an idea."
Hands over the skull and
Uh,
do you want the? Did Reeves take the logbook with him or?
Um, I'd say he did, just so that he could point out where the missing page is.
Because yeah, I thought Cornelius could had records of all that shit, so or copies of every book. I remember him talking about that once.
Cornelius, when you're done taking a look at that, can you look at what I found?
Sure. Give me one moment. And he turns the skull over a couple times before taking a small tool out of the box being held by his attendant. And you see him poke around the back for a second before a part of the back plate pops out for a bit. And he flips that up and starts fiddling around for a bit and says, "Well, if they were trying to be a bit clever and on the nose with it, I think I have something I might be able to work with. It looks like the memory unit's still intact on this automata. Think of it as a way to store memories, like a normal person would. We had to design a system for that. We based it off a method we used for some of the protocol automata to recall information really quickly.
You built a brain?
Oh,
We had a lot of help.
trying to transfer entire souls into these things needs to have something.
When you have two gods that specialize in innovation and knowledge, you can get a lot done surprisingly quickly.
Ah, fair enough.
She called it centuries of innovation in months.
Let's see. Not to say that it was perfect. Usually we had to have people dock in at least once every few days to make sure everything was still stable and create a copy of their memories in case anything happened. These smaller portable versions are a lot less stable and can hold a lot less than you or I could.
Flash
Hmm.
Here
drive.
we go. Pretty much. It's
Uh,
essentially like a floppy drive compared to like a fucking DVD player.
did anything of note happen between autumn 1193 and spring 1194?
Uh, Based off the dates, that's around. Double check this. I'm making sure I listed this accordingly. Uh, 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 uh. Well, based off of that,
That'd be fall of autumn and rain of spring, by the way.
yeah, that was around the time that we first started putting people into the ascended forms, but no, the first date would have been a little before that.
Okay.
Nothing nothing terribly critical for us as far as timelines are concerned.
Well, maybe not critical for you guys, but it seemed pretty critical for
Whatever records they were keeping.
yeah. Um, as Cornelius is still fiddling with the thing, he'll open up the logbook and show where the torn page is.
Let's see.
It's the only page missing, so whatever happened between then, they seem to put some trouble in either disposing of or hiding the records.
No sign of that other page being around anywhere.
I can find in it.
Oh, we'll worry about that in 1 second. And he pulls out um, a small device that um, he rests the memory cord that he retrieved on. And pulls out what almost looks like a small version of like a record player. And he says, "All right, well, let's see if they recorded anything of note then." And as he drops as he like tunes a little crystal on the device, you start hearing the sounds of grinding, whining machines, the sounds of wind and rain. And he seems to frown a little bit at that as he moves the crystal on the device around for a bit before suddenly you start hearing the rapid mumble of words, and he stops for a bit and adjusts it one more time. And over the sounds of heavy rain and combat, you can faintly hear a dull robotic voice call out in the distance. Looks like they don't appreciate her cutting us free. But do you think we can trust her? Uh, Nearby, another voice responds, deeper and gruffer, and closer to a standard voice, but still distorted slightly. "Shut it, you Wazok. I got enough to do here as it is. Worry about the ones trying to kill us now." Audible sounds of fighting fill the distance for several seconds before, damn it, they're not quitting anytime soon. How long could it possibly take to make 4 keys? You and her are slave drivers, both. If you wanted slabs of metal to stop swinging, you'll find enough to keep you occupied for the rest of your life. If you want them to sodding work, then shut up and let me work. There's inaudible grumbling for several seconds, and then barely audible, you can just barely make out. Last time I take a nun on their word. Generous. Bah.
Interesting. Some of that was spoken pretty fast, but
Yep.
generous. Brianna was in on some of the project. Maybe. Oh, whoa, there it is.
No.
Alright.
Huh.
And you see Cornelius fiddling with the device for a moment and says, "It's a bit damaged, so I can't tell exactly when this was. Certainly not from the start of all this.
Judging
I'd
by
say
the
maybe a couple years old at most.
couple of years.
If that.
So post reset has to be a storm granite then. But shader cutting us free. This is odd.
Well,
You would say
if
that again.
if by cutting free, weren't most of the automata after the reset just under Greed's control?
Anything
That
that
was the case, yes. We were able to lock Greed away, but they still had control over all the automata in the city.
except
Okay.
except for the storm granites because they weren't hooked into the network when Greed got in. They were separated. So if they came out of the vault later, they wouldn't have been under Greed's control.
So what do they mean by? I mean, assuming these are storm. This is a storm granite talking. What do they mean by cutting them free? If they were never under the sway of Greed to begin with.
I would assume they're cutting them free out of the vault they were in, but I don't know. I don't know enough about Brianna's involvement with the. At least I don't think Mika knows a bunch about Brianna's involvement with the project.
Uh, no, you don't recall ever seeing any involvement of Brianna.
But
You only vaguely heard it mentioned by Selwest, but she didn't go into detail.
Well, whatever Brianna was doing, they.
might have
Well,
been.
well, you don't hear the words none and generous in the same breath
Um,
without drawing some conclusions.
yeah. Well, after the reset, Generous was running her own thing. She might have, I don't know, poked the storm granites open, try and get them to. I don't know. It's too much speculation, but somehow she did something here before
Okay.
before bringing us out.
So, so here's the thing. Um, that memory core was taken from this head. Um, and this head was found under the desk in this work in this here shop. So, um, they were privy, obviously, from the perspective to this conversation.
Point.
So they were holding off um, the grid controlled automata.
Right.
So
To make 4 keys.
make 4 keys. So um, how did this guy's head get removed from his shoulders?
And where's the rest of them? Huh?
and 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 this other speaker who sounds like a dwarf.
Well, they both sound like automata, but quite possible they finished the keys and left the head of one hidden as a message, similar to how Mika and Selwys tried to broke themselves free off of Greed's control to leave me the message in the forge. They may have been doing something more general.
Yeah. And you see Cornelius fiddling with the device for a bit, trying to get some insight into what happened before it. Um, and you hear combat for a bit leading up to it, but nothing definitive. At one point, you do hear the sounds of combat growing more quiet in the distance and the sound of feet going upstairs. But it's hard. It would be hard to tell if that was the head walking up the stairs or the head being carried up the stairs.
Hmm.
It's hard to say if this one was associated with the speakers in question. They do have a bit of a temporary power source, even separated from the body, could maintain the ability to record and have some semblance of awareness for several minutes if it was decapitated at some point. Hard to tell for certain. The recordings don't last terribly much longer after that, though, so I imagine that our friend here didn't exactly leave the shop after this conversation.
Seems like
Certainly doesn't look like it. Yeah.
talking about 4 keys that, by the sound of it, Mother Genera's commissioned. And we got a missing page in a logbook for the time period leading up. Cornelius, didn't you say once your archives had copies of books?
Most of them. I can see if the archivist is able to track them down.
We can find out what the project was.
I mean,
Uh,
even personal business ledgers.
Not always, no. There are many, many things that were lost to us that we were trying to use our time here to recover. I'll see if we have anything on store, but I wouldn't hold your hopes up.
Alright, well, we've at least got whatever she commissioned was important enough for them to do all this for. Don't know what the keys are for unless they were to a main vault. Maybe they weren't storm granites. Because you said, Reeves, they were cut free. She may have cut free a couple of others to do this work, but I still don't know what the keys would have been for.
We have a lot. Most of what we can do is just give a bit of conjecture.
Yeah,
I don't think we have. I don't think we have enough to draw any solid conclusions.
yeah.
Yes, until we have any of these keys in question, it would be hard to tell for certain.
Well,
Our,
we could check the bank. Where else are you gonna store something?
It seems like that might be our best bet. So,
oh boy, a bank heist.
please don't go breaking into the vault quite yet. It's been ever so peaceful so far. I'd like to keep it that way.
Last resort, I promise.
So, that is where we will put a little tab in this little adventure for the time being.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
So many little facts and bits.
Yes?
Bits and bubbles.
Alright. Be sure to record what you guys have picked up and found so far. I will make notes of the important things on my side that you guys have picked up so far, so I am aware of them. And we will meet again on the 20th. Yes, we will meet again on the 20th to go to the bank and see if we can't get you guys into some big ass ball.
I've got the Reeves has the shredded documents and the logbook, and we gave the head to Cornelius. I anything else we picked up?
I would mark the dates I have provided as well.
I do have the dates,
Okay.
and the Foundry's got the conversation back up, so.
Yeah, I have the conversation backed up as well. I won't remove it until the adventure's completed. So if you guys ever ask for the conversation from the decapitated head, I can provide it.
Fair enough.
So Foundry isn't saving what I put into my private notes.
Uh,
Oh,
Did you?
I hit save. Okay,
There we go.
that's why. Okay.
That'll do it.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought it auto saved it, and I was like, oh, wait, why is it not working?
Yep. All right.
Fun.
E.
All right. So, any questions for me?
Not that I can think of.
Nope, not that we can solve right now. I think I got all the most notes I've taken in a while.
Yeah, it's a fun little mystery.
I'm reminded of the damn
Yeah.
tree. The freaking
Hey.
wizard's lair in the tree.
That tree was fun and depressing. Okay.
I love that tree.
I'm
That
getting
tree was fucked.
getting vibes off of that.
I think there will be people that are very excited with the end of this, but we will have to get there to be sure.
Oh boy. I did have a side question I was going to ask earlier, but I didn't get to it. Is how Move, she's not been talking like at all, like how she's been looking through this.
Um, so she's been trying to poke into this a bit more than like she's hands on more than Cornelia, so she's been a little bit distracted. Um, she seems like she's putting on a serious face at the moment, but it doesn't seem like distraught or upset by any of it. She seems like she's just trying to focus on figuring this stuff out quietly in her head until she finds something that helps.
Gotcha. Say Mika would probably at some point want to say it like as they were walking through the streets, probably to get to the first guild, probably would have been kind of chatting with her a little bit and passed on Celis's message.
Mm-hmm. And she would seem like a little shocked by that, and then just let out like a, she would have you pass that along.
Well, I mean, I got faith in you. I don't see why she wouldn't.
Wait, so Cellulus was the previous
In
god
goddess, yeah.
that
Yep.
Amove now has the domain for.
Correct.
Yes.
So gods can just give away their domains and still hang around as mortals?
Yeah. Celis,
Yes.
as Mika understood it, gave her domain to Move, and so Celis herself could uh, ascend into the automata system and help work with it, keep working it with it from the inside.
It's a bit weird. Gnomes are also kind of an exception to mortality rules, because gnomes don't have a hard age limit.
Oh, really?
Huh.
Gnomes die when they get bored.
What?
Gnomes die when they stop experiencing new life experiences. So they often live to several hundred years old until they just get like apathetic and can't find joy in life anymore, and then they go gray and die.
That is so.
Okay.
That's so sad.
Yeah, remember Klimwog?
Yeah.
Dude must
Yeah,
be ancient.
Oh yeah, he was well, that was Ethos, but he was role playing
yeah.
as an ancient ass gnome
Yeah.
who was going gray.
Yeah.
If you live long enough as a gray, people are like, how the fuck?
Oh, yeah, this affliction, the bleaching. Holy shit.
The
Okay.
bleaching, yeah.
I'm gonna have to read some more on that because that's crazy.
Yeah, gnomes, after looking into it more in Pathfinder, I super love gnomes as a race because they're just chaos entities and I love them.
Awesome.
All of them. No, that's great. Like, so it's just like, eventually you're just gonna be like, I'm going to travel the world or else I'm going to die.
Yeah, they're a bit more loot. They're literally Fey entities that were kicked out of the Feywild.
Oh.
Like, they are not mortal plane natives, they are Feywild natives.
Interesting. So, okay.
That's cool. Alright.
I think it's similar. I think Leshies also don't die of old age.
That I could see.
They don't age, so they could potentially remain the same vessel forever, though they consider that to rarely be desirable.
They seem almost more like fey constructs than they're not, but
They're spirits that inhabit plant bodies.
yeah.
No, there's a lot of super fun races in Pathfinder.
Huh. Neat.
Like, I'm weak for Tengu, and I'm obviously weak for Knoll, considering my past character. But they have frog people.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they had a Tengu. Written up
Tengu are
for
great.
I knew they had some crazy like.
pro people.
Yeah, Tengu were. I had a fucking baller ass Tengu sword master at one point. I love that race.
They've got some crazy looking. Like, it's the names of some of these I hear like Ripley's and things I hadn't
Mhm.
actually ever heard of before. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, they have a lot of super fun races to look into.
Sapient spiders.
Oh God.
Oh, they're adorable. If
But-
you hate spiders, you won't like them, but they're adorable.
Jesus. I'm going to do some reading to some of this. This is a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah, they added some more recent ones that are fun.
Yeah. Neat.
But yeah,
Etchlings.
Yeah, I was looking at that. Cool.
I have to look
Alright.
through the.
Uh-huh.
I have to look through these.
Next character, Chaos.
All right. So, if there are no more immediate questions for me, we can put a pin in it here, and I will see you all in 2 weeks.
Bank heist, yay!
Hi
Yeah.
guys.
All
Good here,
right. I
guys.
will see you all then.
Alright.
See ya.
Night.
Bye.